Don Luskin, you're the guy who hat-tipped me on this in-tray thing. It was a terrific call. I got you in the column we just put to bed also. Thank you, buddy. I want to ask you, I am hearing a lot of people coming on the network saying oil prices are falling because the economy is collapsing. On the other hand, if you're going to get a drill bill out of Congress, if the Democrats are moving towards the Republicans in order to avoid getting wiped out politically this November in what could be an unexpected tsunami, maybe oil traders are selling the black gold because they see future supplies going up. Which is it?
You know, it's these perma bears. When oil was going up, they were saying that was because the world economy was collapsing. Now oil is going down. That's because the world economy is collapsing. I think if a butterfly flaps its wings in Patagonia, that is because the world economy is collapsing. The reality is a wonderful byproduct has happened from what is otherwise a fairly tragic thing of oil trading near $150. That is, it's finally woken everybody up. It looks like we're now on the brink of removing a useless, counterproductive, regulatory brick wall between Americans and American resources. And you take away that brick wall, two amazing things happen. One, you lower the oil price, and you're seeing that happen right now in anticipation of that regulatory wall coming down. And number two, you put a lot of Americans to work on American soil and in American water, developing American resources for the American economy, so it helps growth two ways. It brings the oil price down, and it brings jobs and productivity up.
I did not get to breathe the same glue as the rest of these people. Oil is not an American commodity. It is a world commodity. And offshore resources, measured by the Department of Energy, about 18 billion barrels, nice amount. It amounts to 7 months' world supply. It will take 10 or 20 years to get it out. How does it destroy oil prices today to see some legislation towards drilling it over 10 or 20 years, modestly adding to world supply?
Don Luskin, do you have a response to that question?
Well, yeah. Once I just resumed normal breathing after being insulted for being a glue sniffer just because I disagree. You know,
I
just challenge Quentin Hardy next time he's on here to source even one of that string of numbers he just threw out so casually.
Department
it takes
of
20
Energy.
years to develop. Yeah, I know, Department of Energy. Don at Luskin.net. You email me a link, and then next time we're on together, we'll see if that number is right or not. You know, it's not, I guarantee you. Because one thing we know about oil is there's an arms race going on. There's a kind of Moore's Law going on where when we get out there and we start drilling, we achieve economies of scale, the technology takes over, and we discover proven reserves that were uneconomical to bring up before that are not included in those statistics. Because those reserve statistics are not just a question of how much oil is in pockets in the earth. They are qualified by affordability. Oil that the Department of Energy doesn't believe is profitable to bring up is not included in proven reserves. So
Don,
as technology improves and as the price goes up, those reserves are going to go up. That's why world reserves have gone up consistently for the last 30 years, even as consumption has gone up consistently for the last 30 years. Peak oil,
Don, with all
not going to
respect,
happen.
and I take back my glue comment that was superfluous. Look, do you really think that we're going to get in there anytime soon? Do you not think living in the real world there are going to be massive court challenges and this won't take a decade?
Let's look at the in-trade.
20 years? I'll tell you what I thought was hilarious. I know where you got that 20-year number. That's a talking point from Barack Obama's speech because I heard him make it last Thursday on NPR.
Well, I know.
And you know what he said right after that? He said, and during those 20 years, the oil companies are just going to keep screwing us.
But here's
how about
during
that?
those 20
A company
years,
that's
demand will
investing
rise
billions and billions of capital and isn't going to make a return for it for 20 years, they're screwing us? That sounds like they're running a charity.
Can you agree with what Bob Froelich just said?
Oh, not entirely. You know, I just want to make sure everybody realizes that while it's just a wonderful thing to see oil come off from 147 to 120, at 120, it's still higher than it was on Bear Stearns Monday. Well, there is on the one hand, you could say you could take that two ways. That means there's a lot of space below still to fall. You could say that. On the other hand, you could say, look, if we've gotten to the point where to be satisfied by ExxonMobil's profits, we have to have oil at 147, and seeing it merely at 120, which 3 months ago, when we passed 120 on the upside, was considered a catastrophe. Well, you know, we need to get over that. 120 is a very high oil price where ExxonMobil and all the explorers and everybody else can make a lot of money. These stocks have gotten killed. The oil price has yet to correct to the 80 level, which I think is now implied in stock prices.
90
I think
is
you might
about
want to start taking a few bites of the apple here.
The housing market basically collapses. Residential housing construction just gone. And yet we don't see this big spike in unemployment. Why is that? I bet you it's because there's so many illegal immigrants in that particular industry, they can't declare for benefits, and they just disappear off the statistical charts. Now, the other industries start to feel the pain, then you start to see the unemployment numbers go up. This may be why, the firing numbers this week were up a 141% difference from a year ago. That's the biggest jump since 2001. So the pay may be moving into real American jobs, real American economy.
Don Luskin, a quick comment on that. Immigrants, real American jobs, real American economy. I don't know. I think immigrants play a very useful role in America.
Absolutely. You should be grateful for the illegal immigrants in the business. Otherwise, unemployment would be much higher.
Don?
Yeah, I don't think anything Quentin was saying implied that there was anything wrong with their contribution. Although certainly it would be nice if they were legal. But as to whether there's any truth to his speculation that that's acting as a kind of unmeasured buffer to job losses, well, it's simply speculation. I don't know. It's one of those things where I think Quentin's worldview calls for a larger statistical consequence in job loss than we've actually seen. He's not getting that, and so he's trying to kind of fill in the missing pieces and say what could possibly account for that.
Well,
I don't know.
Is that what my worldview
that might be
dictates?
Quentin. I'm not quite finished yet.
Yeah.
Your explanation might be the right one, and it might not. But
as I said,
we simply don't know. You're starting from a conclusion and then speculating on a theory that will fit it, rather than looking at the facts that we have. So I simply don't know.
Don Luskin, biotech, is that an exception to the assault against health care?
Biotech is just so leveraged. These are such tiny companies that have the potential to discover a big blockbuster. So they're almost like call options rather than stocks. So, if you can find the needle in the haystack and find the one that's going to have the blockbuster, that's just a big win. In fact, most of my personal portfolio is in biotech. But I got to say, healthcare is a very interesting play here because it's so well known. It's been so known for so long that it's in the crosshairs of Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton when she looked like she was going to be the nominee. So much of that has got to be discounted. But if you look carefully at what Obama and Clinton before him said they're actually going to do to create universal healthcare in this country, they're really talking about what amount to subsidies. So I'm wondering, are they going to subsidize this industry before they destroy it? We could get a couple of good years of earnings out of this.
Fellas, just
I think Dr. Bob is basically right. Sad to say, I just wish they would go to 2 1/4. They do not need to signal, if they do, that they're starting a whole new hiking campaign. All they have to say is, look, financial sector, 2 1/4 isn't going to kill you. Try it. You'll like it.
Well, I'll tell you.